gentleman. Gentlelady from Pennsylvania, Ms. Dean, is recognized for general comments on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank the chairman and the ranking member of this committee. Unfortunately, I rise in opposition to the Interior, Environment, and Related Agencies Appropriations Bill of 2026. I associate myself with the remarks of my Democratic colleagues. This bill fails to deliver on lowering the costs of living for everyday Americans and confronting the existential threat that is the climate crisis. I want to take a moment to talk about how this bill harms my constituents and my home state of Pennsylvania. I was an appropriator when I was in the Pennsylvania House. It was part of what drove me to want to serve with all of you here. And my favorite constitutional amendment in the Pennsylvania Constitution, Article 1, Section 27 reads, "The people have a right to clean air, pure water, and to the preservation of the natural, scenic, and historic aesthetic values of the environment. Pennsylvania's public natural resources are the common property of all people, including generations yet to come." I took that right very, very seriously. I believed that meant we were trustees of that set of rights. And this bill is not compatible with the rights articulated for all Pennsylvanians that I aspire to. Let's talk about clean air. EPA is tasked with implementing the Clean Air Act. The bill today before us cuts EPA funding by 23%. It also includes harmful policy riders like prohibiting the regulation of methane emissions under the Clean Air Act. Pennsylvania's Bureau of Air Quality, within the Department of Environmental Protection, is responsible for safeguarding the health of Pennsylvanians by achieving the goals of the Federal Clean Air Act and the Pennsylvania Air Pollution Control Act. The Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection relies heavily on federal investments, including funds authorized by the historic Inflation Reduction Act, including many grants that are being targeted for elimination by this administration and by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Let's talk about pure water. This bill cuts funding to states through the Clean Water and Drinking Water State Revolving Funds by $1.7 billion. This means, for my state, a funding cut of $23 million. These funds are critical for the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority, which is called PennVest, which serves our communities through capital funding for drinking water, wastewater, stormwater, non-point source pollution prevention, and other related projects. Cutting these funds means higher costs for Pennsylvanians to access clean water, and this bill would prevent us from addressing the risks of PFAS contaminated sewage sludge used in farming. This is so short-sighted. My district has been directly harmed by PFAS contamination of our groundwater, something I will talk about in connection with some of the amendments. And finally, let's talk about the preservation of the natural, scenic, and historic aesthetic values of the environment. This bill cuts funding for preservation left and right. It takes away important protections on public lands, undermining conservation efforts. This bill cuts funding for the National Park Service by $213 million. In my district, we are fortunate to be home to the wonderful Valley Forge National Historic Park. It is America's park. We are so proud of Valley Forge, not only for its historic value, but also its incredible recreational opportunities for locals and visitors alike. It is America's park, but it also delivers an estimated $45 million annually to the local economy thanks to tourism. I have to tell you in terms of the history of it, did you know that the troops at Valley Forge on those cold December nights read Thomas Paine's 49-page pamphlet, Common Sense? It was read to them, or they read it by the campfire, to galvanize and to bolster the Army's purpose on those cold, bitter winter nights. We too should go back and take a look at Common Sense and let it galvanize and bolster our belief that we should protect the folks in our districts along the lines of this interior bill. With that, I yield back.